Welcome to our session on mastering the strategic turnaround, where we will explore how to transition from routine maintenance to a culture of engineering excellence, risk mitigation, and digital innovation. We must first distinguish between a simple shutdown and a true turnaround. While a shutdown is often an unplanned, reactive pause, a turnaround is a strategic rejuvenation requiring capital-intensive scheduled regeneration. These are not routine tasks to be strictly delegated, but rather multi-million-dollar investments critical to our asset life and competitive advantage. The budget reality is sobering, as 80% of refinery turnarounds exceed their initial budgets due to scope creep and inadequate planning. With unplanned downtime costing major operators upwards of $5 million for just 3.5 days, we cannot afford the complexity paradox of relying on manual spreadsheets and reactive maintenance. The 2012 Chevron Richmond refinery incident serves as a grave reminder that systemic failure is often a failure of organizational design and governance rather than just metal. In that case, critical safety recommendations from corporate experts were repeatedly denied by the refinery's turnaround planning group. We must ensure that rigid processes do not defeat engineering expertise. At Chevron, a framing document created a fatal flaw by excluding expert recommendations that didn't fit its narrow criteria. This resulted in systemic risks being ignored due to bureaucratic processes, ultimately leading to a catastrophic fire. We must also recognize that a culture of complacency predicts physical failure, as seen when employee willingness to use stop work authority and trust in equipment care plummeted prior to the Richmond incident. A desire to be safe is simply not enough without integrated, accountable systems. To prevent such losses, we must adopt a new paradigm that elevates turnarounds to a board-level strategic capability built on 4 pillars: strategic procurement, rigorous 5-phase execution, inherently safer design, and digital innovation. Pillar 1 involves strategic procurement and market intelligence, shifting from reactive purchasing to proactive supply chain strategies. This includes early contractor integration and systematic make-or-buy analyses to reduce procurement risks before full commitment. Pillar 2 requires strict adherence to a 5-phase execution cycle, starting with a critical 6 to 12-month scoping phase. This disciplined methodology is essential to prevent the scope creep that leads to the industry standard 80% budget overruns. Pillar 3 is the mandate for inherently safer design, moving from procedural checks to structural guarantees. As executives, we must allocate capital to structural upgrades that eliminate hazards entirely, rather than funding endless and less effective manual inspection cycles. Pillar 4 leverages the digital twin revolution, replacing paper spreadsheets with dynamic 3D replicas. These tools provide integrated spatial awareness and centralized data, allowing managers to resolve scheduling conflicts and plan heavy equipment placement before execution begins. By shifting from reactive shutdowns to predictive execution, we can use industrial IoT and AI to forecast failures before they happen. Deploying drones and robotics for inspections further reduces worker exposure to hazards while accelerating timelines. The ROI of digital turnaround execution is undeniable, with TechSmart Chemicals seeing a 50% reduction in maintenance costs and Shell Athabasca completing massive integrations on time and within budget with 0 major incidents. These technologies eliminate costly site visits and enhance remote safety planning. Your executive mandate is clear. Break operational silos to give technical experts authority, invest in digital infrastructure now to avoid future unplanned outages, demand structural safety, and foster a culture of ownership. A plant is only as safe as its operators' willingness to halt production when they sense danger. Ultimately, turnarounds are not a necessary evil, but a competitive advantage. Through disciplined planning and continuous digital learning, we can elevate turnarounds from a project vulnerability into the ultimate driver of long-term operational excellence. Partner with Svizona Industrial Solutions to transform your turnarounds from a potential project vulnerability into a strategic competitive advantage. By leveraging our expertise in digital innovation, inherently safer design, and rigorous 5-phase execution, we help you eliminate the complexity paradox and avoid the costly budget overruns that plague 80% of the industry.